as from the picture it is clear that in this video we will discussing about the Indian Railway. So very recent topic is privatization of railways that has been in news. It has been in news because the ministry has issued what is known as request for qualification for private company to run 151 trains spread over 109 routes. It has also laid down the specific condition that will be need to be met in a move that is called to introduce modern technology and world class services for India's one of the most popular modes of transport. The operation will have to be conform to key performance indicator like punctuality, reliability, upkeep of train, etc. So let's see. Before going into the topic, I will discuss about the key aspect of the Indian Railway. So Indian Railway is the fourth largest network in the world in terms of route kilometer. So it is also the largest passenger and fourth largest freight transporting railway system globally. I have given you certain figure. So despite its extensive reach and the substantial growth in freight load, the model share of railway in the transportation of surface freight has declined from 86.2% in 1951 to 33% in 2015. So why it has happened? It has due to the shortfall in carrying capacity and lack of price competitiveness. So, so as you can see from this picture that from 1950 to it is the this is blue one is 1950-51 and this orange one is 2013-14 figure. So first we will discuss the route increase over time. So from 1950-51 to 2013-14 the route kilometer increased by only 23% against the growth in freight and passenger kilometer of 1344 and 1642% respectively. So the growth in freight has been approx 1344% and the growth in passenger kilometer has been 1642% as given in the figure, but the route that is the expansion of the railway has happened only 23%. So this is what we have inherited from the British itself. So the governments have recognized the need for additional investment in rail infrastructure and scale up investment. Privatization is seen as one of the methods of attracting the investment. I am giving you just one of the data. The expenditure on the railways as a percentage of transport expenditure declined from 56% in 1985-90 to 30% in 2007-12. Despite its contribution to the overall economy, so investment in the sector has crippled operation and hampered capacity augmentation. So there has not been enough investment in railways in spite of the huge demand due to the growing population. Okay, so so we'll now discuss in brief why it has been news recently. So as you know, the Indian Railways kick-started the process to allow private player to operate certain train on its network by inviting request for qualification for operation of passenger train as we have 109 route with 150 modern trains. So here are certain details. It was the first initiative of private participation in the running the railway. It can attract investment worth rupees 30,000 crore, as we have seen in the previous slide that why the investment is required in railways. The majority of the train will be manufactured in India, so it will be made in India, and the private entity will be responsible for financing, procuring, operation and maintenance of the train, which will design for a maximum speed of 160 km per hour. The Delhi Lucknow Tejas is the first train that is not operated by the Indian Railway. The concession period for the project will be 35 years. The private entity will have to pay to Indian Railway certain fixed haulage charges, energy charges as per the consumption, and a share in gross revenue determined through transparent bidding process. These trains will be operated by driver and guards of the Indian Railway. So these has been briefed in the recent request for qualification. So we will see the advantage that privatization in railway will bring. So first is the job creation. So as you can see that due to COVID also there has been many and lost the job. So the privatization of the railway and being operated by private players will increase the chances of job creation. As you see, as I've seen, the its maximum speed allows 160 kilometer per hour, and since these railways has to compete with airway, so now the travel time will be less, so more people may choose railway. Reduced supply demand deficit in passenger segment. The Indian Railway currently faces huge constraint on the supply side and is unable to meet the demand on the passenger segment. Currently, the railway runs around 13,000 passenger train on its network, but around 20,000 trains are required to meet the demand. Since the private players are known for their world-class service, they will also provide good enhanced safety feature and also this world-class service to the passenger. You might have seen in the Tejas the service provided, and it will the reduce maintenance of train for the Indian Railway. The maintenance of the train will be part of the private player, so the budget for the Indian Railway will reduce. Means they not required money to maintain the train. The train will be maintained by private player itself. So these are the benefits. However, there are certain challenges also which we are going to discuss right now. First is fixation of fare. So in this proposal, the railways or government have no role in fixing passenger fare. Fare can be beyond common man's reach, so fare can be very high. Fare concession that is generally given to several categories of people in the present system, like for women, old age, might not be available by the private investor. So this very objective of commissioning the railway as a public welfare transport organization will be defeated, and it will become a capitalist model where the focus will be to get as much profit as they want. So they will be not having dedicated railway line to maintain that timeliness. So they have as given in the proposal that they have to fix the time. Means if a train has to reach in 3 hour, it has to reach in 3 hour or 3 hour. If it is very late, then they will pay the fee to the customer. So but they are not having a dedicated line to maintain the timeliness. Nearly all trunk route in the existing network are speed limited to 110 km per hour. Very few permit speed up to 120 to 130 km per hour. So and also there is to raise speed to 160 km per hour. There has to be track strengthening, elimination of curve and level crossing gates, and strengthening of bridges. There is no appreciable reduction in transit time for most proposed train when compared with timing of the fastest train now operating on that route. So these all the measure has to be taken before this private player are allowed to run on the certain routes. So again the another issue that will come is a responsibility issue. Railway crew will work the trains, means they will be also means all in all this the guard and all will be the railway people also. It will be maintained by the private investor. All other infrastructure, track and associated structure, signaling, security and their daily maintenance owned by railway will be fully utilized in running train. Thus the responsibility of the private investor ends with investment in procurement and maintenance of coaches, train operations, safety, and dwelling with everyday problem rest with the railway. In case of an unfortunate event, fixing responsibility will become an issue. Right now, the responsibility on the railway, it is completely if anything happens. So, if due to certain issues, an accident or anything happen, then fixing the responsibility on or like the private investor or the railway can become an issue. Another is limited coverage. As you know, these private players are interested in profit also. It is their main motive will be to generate as much profit. Their participation will be limited to only certain lucrative sector and area. This can bring regional inequality and difference in service delivery across different routes. So we have discussed most of the point related to benefit and the challenges of the privatization of the railway. However, I will like to add that in order to sustain growth, modernization, and efficiency, the any Indian Railway must redefine its role and responsibility. Everyone agrees on that. It has to completely reposition its operating role from being a direct service provider to being a supervisor of service. However, railway have to remain affordable. The government can give subsidy, tax benefit to incentive private player to keep the tariff low, and has to regulate thoughtfully regulate by ensuring competition with multiple private player participation. So they have to see that two things while implementing privatization of the railway. Two things is very important. They have to ensure two things. First, it should be affordable. Second thing, it should be such that the transparent, multiple player participate in this process, so that it is not dedicated towards a particular company. So with this, thank you. Stay healthy, stay safe.